Indigenous, the poor and the mentally ill are overrepresented. Where isolation, humiliation and degradation are facts of life. Welcome to prison.
It depends who's telling the story, I suppose. The prisoners would have one view, the people who work in the prison system would have another, and I think it's up to people to decide where the truth is.
Give government propaganda and the media spin doctors the flick. And check out Doin Time for news, views and tunes on prison issues from Guantanamo Bay to Christmas Island to prisons and detention centres everywhere. Every Monday at 4 p.m. on your community radio 3CR.
We are still fired up and we're still talking about revolution.
Hello and welcome to the Doin Time show. This is 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. We've had a few technical difficulties. We have a number of guests coming up. Coming up first on the show is Uncle Jack Charles, and he's going to be speaking about Stolen Generation and many other issues, given that there'd been Sorry Day on the 26th of May. And secondly, we'll be speaking with Vickie Roach, who's going to be expanding on the topic. So we have two very, very special guests today. And you're back with the Doin Time show, and that was a band by Aboriginal. And just to let you know, again, that there was a language warning. I did pre-warn listeners. And just to also say that there are bigger crimes and a bit of swearing, and this was actually done in a political context. Anyway, we just introduced Uncle Jack earlier on and talked about the fact that Vickie Roach should be coming up again. And Uncle Jack, welcome to the program.
It's good to be here, Marissa. Thanks very much for having me.
It's lovely to have you. Yeah, just wondering if you could just briefly talk about what land you're from and just introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Jack Charles. I'm not a mere Koori anymore. I found that my father, Philip Burns, comes from Leeton, New South Wales, so consequently on my father's side I am Wiradjuri. On my mum's side I am Bunwurrung. Wow. And my great-greats are around Jar Jar Barung country.
Fantastic. Now, Uncle, I think what we're going to do, we have plenty of time. I just want to And you're back with the Doin Time show, and we're back in circulation. I think we're out of circulation for a while, but not sure, it doesn't matter. And it's approximately 4:10, and yeah, so Uncle, so you talked about what land you're from and everything.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering now if you could talk about what's been happening with Sorry Day and all about the treaty stuff, and just talk about what's been going on.
Well, with me, I've been missing it in action in our Victorian prisons and new detention centres. I've been, as usual, distracted by my contractual obligations, you might say, of overseas tours. So I've recently just done Auckland Arts Festival, and by the way, I had never rubbed so many noses and sweaty foreheads in my life. Those Maori people there, they give you an extremely, serious welcome to country.
Yeah.
Those people over there. So it was very good to do a week over there. And also, just recently, I'm back from Tokyo, Japan. I DFAT, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. So you might say I was traded to an art centre over in 5 hours drive from Tokyo. So it's the last time that me and my band and my crew will be touring overseas with this, unless it's a Tasmanian trip down the track. But I've had enough of touring. Each year, since 2008 or 12, we've toured overseas. And I've been noticing that I've hooked myself up with Vickie Roach Foundation. I'm one of his special roving ambassadors, talking it up. And we have a big plan to enhance the reach of the Asian people that work in our youth detention centres and adult prisons.
Fantastic.
So that's what we've been aiming in, and for Archie and I, by the way, Marissa, we're in Parkville when that first riot started. And
Really?
Yes, we were caught in all amongst it.
Which riot was that, Uncle?
The first riot in Parkville.
Oh, okay.
Yes, 2 years ago.
Right.
Yes, and we already knew we had been complained to about things that were happening while we were having a barbecue with the young ones. So we got an immediate understanding of what was happening, what was going wrong, that these fellas should be so
Dissatisfied.
dissatisfied and little tolerance with the system and that. And you can't blame them, because they bitched to me that if an officer didn't turn up, it was a 21, 23-hour lockdown.
Wow.
And the eventual outcome of all this was that it was found that there seemed to have been very little evidence, exactly like Dondale,
Yep.
that any rehabilitation programs or education was being delivered to those people in Malmesbury and Toronto. They've got, Toronto, or some college up there, Parkville College up there in Malmesbury, and I don't know what's happened, why it's happened, but Archie and I have been going in a couple of times. We believe, and I firmly believe that you need to tell the governors, the managers of the youth detention centres, and the staff themselves, along with the prisoners, of the Archie Roach Foundation and our intentions of having a permanent local elder paid to go in there on a more regular basis, so that the prisoners become totally familiar with that one person that comes in, much like Jimmy Berg.
Yeah.
Uncle Jimmy Berg was doing, but become regular, and he's the go-to for families, and that, and also with the Archie Roach Foundation, there's even a bus. We can pick them, their families up, and bring them into visits, take them up to Malmesbury from down here, and that. They do this up at the Redfern Medical Centre. Some of those buses they've got, a couple of their drivers take them home in order for people to shift, move around, or to take visitors into the New South Wales prisons.
Yep. Absolutely. And in fact, one of the things, Uncle Jack, that listeners need to be aware of, and we've had you on quite a few times, haven't we, really? But just in case there are new listeners that have just tuned in, Uncle Jack is a member of the Stolen Generation, and he was taken from his Indigenous mother when he was a baby, and he has been in prison before, and has in fact been criminalised, and it's been quite incredible. And in fact, there's a book that you participated in about Pentridge, wasn't there?
That's right. Yes. Rupert.
That's it, Rupert. And
Mann.
He actually came to be interviewed. Rupert Mann actually came into the studio to be interviewed on the 27th of November last year. Yeah. And there was a wonderful chapter in the book about you, and you have actually been in Pentridge Prison, haven't you?
Oh, yes. It's one of my favourite jails. You can't have favourites, by the way, Marissa.
Why is it one of your favourite jails?
Well, because as soon as I walked in there, I felt a very welcoming, atmosphere, and that because there were so many other people that had originally been failed adopted kids, failed fostered kids that we met. I met originally in Tirana. When you did fail those people, you're automatically locked up. And of course, young sensitive minds are very easily led, and I was easily led to do a burg, and so I went to Pentridge. Yeah. And that is the Yogs Yard. But look, I felt I had a measure of protection in there. Yeah. I spoke the Queen's English far superior than most prisoners, so I was looked upon as a novelty in a way. I wrote their letters, so I got on well because I could give them service. I'd write their letters for them.
Fantastic.
If nobody wanted to finish off their bowl of porridge, burgoo, I would do it. I was commonly called the burgoo kid.
Wow. Okay. So, but obviously you haven't been to prison for a while now.
No. Since I came out, I think in 2005 or 6.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff.
And that was immediately after me undertaking the Murray program being delivered by Auntie Lorraine Peters and her daughter.
Yeah.
And Marissa, that was the program most responsible for tweaking my conscience. It sparked it lit the burning embers of my drugged up, fucked up, locked up dreamings.
Yep.
And it definitely did that for me, whereby I had the notion to come out of that last prison sentence because this was the first time I was coming out of a prison not homeless. I still had the key to my unit in my property in jail.
Wow.
So I had to finish off the documentary and finish off jumping off the methadone, undertaking being on standby for the call from the Royal Commission because there was a group of prisoners in jail who said they would like my phone number. I would be the perfect person to give credence and credibility and validate the stories of what went on in the Box Hill Boys' Home and that they were suing the salvos of what went on in the Box Hill Boys' Home. So that was another element that kept me on the standby. And also I undertook the Elders Leadership Program with Choco Howard Edwards, gallivanting around the country where we'd meet men and women in another conference centre, but men from all over the country undertaking this leadership skills course. And I got to understand much of corporate practices. And it led me, I need something to understand if I was going to write I was writing letters to Minister Wynne so I can get the old Aboriginal Health Service up the road there, along the Dirty Gertie Mile. But I wanted to start the Nindabyah workshop too, and Mark too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, if you got a criminal record, I'm pushing for another self-determined program because we got those programs from self-determination.
Doesn't matter about the criminal record. You've got the lived experience of prison. You're doing your acting, and really as a baby, what would you know about criminals? Didn't they criminalise you because you had to go into a home?
Yes. Well, as a baby,
what on earth would you know about that then?
The offence, you look up your criminal record, is that you were the offence under the offences area on that document is that your criminal record. The offence was child in need of a care and attention.
And that's a crime?
Apparently that was a crime. So,
lovely.
But Uncle Larry Walsh has fought long and hard with the Aboriginal Legal Services, so those particular criminal records have now been wiped.
That's good.
That's wiped.
It's been wiped?
Wiped, yes.
Fantastic. For all or just yourself?
I don't know. I'm not certain, but I would imagine Larry Walsh wouldn't only be speaking for himself, he'd be speaking for many of the others that have got this on there. Choco Howard's got it. I've had it on his.
Yeah. Vickie Roach has too. She's talked about that on radio interviews before. And I just thought I'd draw attention to that for listeners. It's approximately 4:21 and you're listening to an interview with Uncle Jack Charles. Now, Uncle, before I know you said you wanted to go. Is it okay if we just borrow you for a couple more minutes?
Yeah, no, time. Yeah.
Just wanted to, we were speaking off air about treaty. Can you just comment on your views about the treaty in Victoria? I know you were speaking a lot about that just before we came into the studio.
Yes. Look, a treaty for me is something similar to, exactly what Gary Murray has been, in cahoots with Daniel Andrews for some time. I suppose protecting and acknowledging ownership of the waterlands of Jaja country and mountains and etc., the springs and the land. and that. So he'd been talking about that. But, when I think of a treaty, I believe that a treaty allows us to have a seat at the table, a more permanent seat at the table, never can be taken away. We're always there. There's never an excuse to take away the, some might say, a black party, a little black spot in the corner of parliaments, perhaps, where we can advise and, expand on any, situations in parliament that deal with us. But in regard to treaty, if you have a treaty, you have a list of demands. And from my perspective, I'm looking at that the state government take a little bit more seriously about bleeding onto our schools curriculum the truth in history of the invasion and the settlement of Victoria. And I think truth in history has to come about, and that can only become about by having, to and fro and discussions with the state government and the education department here in Victoria. We know the federal government education people are not on this tack. It actually defeats that long-term colonialist thought of assimilation. They still want us to assimilate, and they're pretty peed off with us for not doing the right thing in assimilating. We're integrating very well, and we're very inviting and very tolerant, as an Aboriginal race. And but there has to come a time when treaty has to be discussed seriously. So I believe if the state is up for it, Daniel Andrews' government seems to be up for it, and we're talking to him. I was in there with a large group. Two groups actually have fronted Parliament of recent years.
This week, isn't it?
It's last week.
Yeah, it's going to be debated, isn't it?
Yes, it's going to be debated. The Greens don't want a party of it, apparently, I'm told, but Lydia Miller had arranged...
Lydia Thorpe, yeah.
Lydia Thorpe, I mean, yeah. When I say Lydia Miller, Arts Council of Australia.
That's right.
Somebody else.
My nemesis. Yes. Anyway, but that's good. We had a great meeting, and so I got to understand that there are many people around the country that seems to be a split among some small group of elders undertaking another special meeting the week previously and standing outside Parliament. But it was a hoot for me to be in that second larger group, sitting in that room in Parliament there, exactly in the spot where my great-greats 100 years or so ago had handed those petitions to the Chief Secretary, the Premier of the day at that time. And so here I was 100 years later doing exactly that. That's exciting.
It is.
And it stamps my identity as a Melburnian, because, my umbilical cord was cut at the Royal Women's Hospital, like so many blackfellas, and so where your umbilical cord is cut, that's where you belong. That's your place of belonging.
That's pretty amazing. I'm surprised you actually were in a hospital, because, a lot of the time during the colonisation process, babies and mothers weren't even allowed to give birth in a hospital.
Yes, well, the story of William Brack tells that succinctly, how they treated the men.
Absolutely.
When their children were delivered to the hospital, the men weren't, the husbands and wives weren't allowed to see their kids.
Yeah, it's quite interesting and in fact, and sad really, that, you didn't even know about the treaty, what was happening in the Victorian treaty process. Although I think the Greens are wanting to do it, aren't they?
Well, maybe I misheard.
That's okay.
Lydia.
We can clarify with Lydia at some other stage, but we did interview her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway.
I think it's important because, I've just come back from, Canada last year. Canada and New York last year. So I went over to Canada with Rachel Mazza just to visit a jail at Beavers Creek province, about 100 mile out of Toronto. It was fabulous. We were met at the gate by a father and son team in prison uniform with keys dangling on their belt. It was late spring, a lot of snow on the ground.
Wow.
So we went in. They'd set up in their rec room there a humongous drum, of which 12 of them sat around. They bashed this drum and chanted, and there was about 20 others around these fellows sitting down, all chanting, "Give us welcome to country." It was hair-raising on the back of the neck stuff.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Now, the job of these two, father and son team, is they have been retrained to be prison officers, okay? And their job description in the main, besides locking them up and containing, controlling, is to keep, the equivalent of our song lines open to the prisoners inside, keep their families connected with them, make it more possible for the bus to bring them in and visit them, exactly like Vickie Roach and I were envisaging. And we hadn't seen Canada. I hadn't seen Canada when Archie and I were talking about this. The big dreaming is to have this permanent presence, a man or a woman regularly going into a prison, paid to go in. You know, the point of this exercise is that the system has to trust us.
Absolutely.
And we are the most distrusted race in the nation. The Aboriginal.
Look,
and it's always been like that.
Yes.
But now let's see Victoria come to the party and trust us. We need spending on local community centres, re-engaged in community centres. But this time, let's run them with honesty and integrity, with transparency and accountability. And let's each every community centre in, say, Horsham. Yeah. Horsham needs a community centre. There's so many young ones in our youth detention centres from Horsham and our adult prisons from Horsham because there's no hub anymore. No hub to gravitate towards. And that. So this is a long conversation down the track, but I also visited Beavers Creek Community Centre. It's also overseen by a chief. He was a Korean vet.
Good.
He tells us he was the special doctor for all the rock bands that used to come through Toronto in the old days.
Wow.
giving them their Mick Jagger and Jimmy Morris their special medicines. And he told me, because I queried, how come you telling me this is locked in permanently? No future governments can ever take this initiative and the funding away from you. He said, yeah. Well, we had a change in our constitution, Jack, to fit in with our treaty. And amongst the main list of demands in the treaty was that every institution that incarcerates or houses their Indigenous people, their First Nations mob, their traditional peoples, young or old, has to have local living chiefs nearby employed to go in there.
Wow.
It seems to have been working.
Well, that's good. That's really good. Now, pretty soon we're going to be speaking with Vickie Roach, but before we do that, Uncle Jack, I think you attended the Stolen Generation Sorry Day event.
Oh, yes, brilliant.
At the Flats, Atherton Gardens on the 26th of May, and I believe that Atherton Gardens is actually a meeting place where families met to try and find each other. Can you tell us a little bit about that day?
All the drinking and all the drugging were all happening there, but I remember it before the flats, as the flats were being built. I was hanging around trying to connect with people in my own right here in this community. And I remember the little houses around on the corner of Napier and Napier and all the way up along the Dirty Mile to Brunswick Street, all the little side alleys and etc. My mum lived in a little house there one time, I remember. And but I also remember cleaning the newly installed windows in the Napier Street flats there, being paid. Many of us on the streets or in the community were employed to work in the Office of Housing Construction, and that, So I do remember them, and I remember our first services first starting along the Dirty Mile and that,
That's fantastic, isn't it? So there's a lot of history associated with that, and in fact, I think I read actually an article from The Age about Atherton Gardens, and it was for a mainstream newspaper. It was a pretty good article, actually, Uncle. Did you read it?
No, I didn't know.
It was pretty amazing. They actually had an article in there about Choco.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And they talked about his life, and then they mentioned that on Sorry Day there was an unveiling of a monument to the stolen generation.
Yeah,
And you were there for that, weren't you?
Yes.
On Saturday.
Yep.
And Kutcher Edwards.
And Kutcher
And
Edwards.
Kutcher sang, and the opera singer, what's her name?
Oh. The opera singer?
She read Willard Centre.
Oh, okay. Yep.
All right.
Beautiful.
She was there. She sang in language too. She's a humdinger, that woman.
It's pretty amazing. And just...
Very strong people in the community.
Yeah.
The gathering of all the African Australians was a hoot, and Kutcher had the little kid wrapped around his little finger. And that well, those little kids would be in awe of the big, imposing presence of Kutcher. And they just loved him, and that,
Yeah.
But of course, he always gives a good accounting of himself at these events, and it was just great. Even Niles turned up. Dr. Niles, who had been sacked from the health service, and his missus turned up. So it was great to see everybody there. All the old ones, all the old strugglers that are not stragglers anymore. They're too old to be struggling now. They're living sedate lives as pensioners and experience what it's like being a pensioner and that, So, and we were all there.
That's fantastic.
And that's fantastic. And many of us have fond memories of Atherton Gardens and all the friends we've made there, but also of all the friends and rallies that we've lost.
Well, yeah. So, and all the elders that have died prematurely. Because Aboriginal people don't live as long as non-Indigenous people, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I'm different. I'm 75 this September.
Well, you're a living example.
Yes. If you pull up at the right time, you'll live longer, But you've got to be, you got to be, rigid about it.
Absolutely.
You've got to be rigid.
Yeah. Uncle Jack, thank you so much for being on the program.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome to stick around when we interview Vickie if you like.
I have to hit the Frottingham Code before night time. I don't like riding my
No, of course not.
in the dark.
No, of course not.
But no, look, thanks for having me, Bruce.
Good.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah.
Long time, 3CR, bless you.
Hey, I'm just really curious.
And all those fellas in jail, I'll be coming in soon. Okay, I'm unleashed from the
Not as a
bondage
prisoner,
of-
though.
No, but I'll be coming in because I need to have a chat with you and all that,
Hey, I'm just really curious, though. I've always wanted to ask you this. How many prisons have you actually been in total?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only
6?
Yes.
Oh, Choco
I'm
beat you.
22 times incarcerated. I do have 26 mug shots in the Victorian prison system.
Choco beat you. He was in 8.
Oh, yes. Well, he was, he was allowed. I was just a quiet little cat burglar. Collecting rent, ironically, on my mum's land. You can't, whip up a scenario like that.
Yeah.
But those houses in Toorak and South Yarra and Brighton are all on Boonwurrung country. If I'd had the presence of mind to use that as a defence, maybe I'd gotten another 8 years for doing so.
Uh-oh.
But no, the point is, it's been a long journey, and many of you mob in jail, need to undertake the journey of this great discovery that a lot of white Australians are undertaking. Who do you think you are? Well, many of you in jail need to understand the full extent of your heritage, because once you've got it, it'll be a strong black backbone to your future.
And for people who are living in Toorak and Brighton, don't worry, you're quite safe.
Yeah.
Uncle's too busy now.
I'm stealing still, but hearts and minds nowadays.
That's right, he's too busy.
Yeah.
He's too busy to be a cat burglar.
Thank you.
Aren't you too busy now?
Yes.
Don't you dare say you're not too busy. You're going to scare people.
All right.
Uncle, thank you so much for coming
Thanks
on
a
the
lot.
program.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so
Okay.
much.
There, bless you.
Australia is a crime scene. It's unfinished business is crime. People don't understand that it was a military exercise. It was military in the First Fleet. It was Captain James Cook. It was Captain Arthur Phillip. Right through the history of Australia, it's a military exercise. Our people have suffered greatly because the white man is not prepared to act honourably and legally. It's still the case in this country today.
This is 3CR. Fight for your mic.
3CR Radiothon 2018, Fight for Your Mic.
The sound of the weapon called a microphone. Bring the revolution on. Broadcasting to the early morning.
June 4th to the 17th.
Fight for your mic.
Rebel music on the dance floor. Tell me what you're fighting for, because this day gonna keep you alive. Forget about your troubles in your 9 to 5 with the rhythm of the pump, the pump, the pump.
You got to remember, NAIDOC's a special day for us, brothers. That's a reminder who we are.
Every year for NAIDOC Week, 3CR Community Radio gives voice to our Indigenous brothers and sisters through Beyond the Bars, Australia's only live prison broadcast.
I am a black man.
NAIDOC means a lot to me. It's about identity and also about past and present.
NAIDOC means a lot to me, for my family and my people.
And the people forgetting about our rights.
You can access audio from current and past Beyond the Bars broadcasts via the 3CR website. Go to 3cr.org.au/Beyond the Bars and either listen to or download audio from Australia's only live prison broadcast.
Happy NAIDOC!
3CR is a community radio licence holder. What you hear on community radio is governed by the Community Radio Codes of Practice. The Codes of Practice cover matters relating to program content, including local content, news, current affairs, Australian music, programs for children, and the responsibilities associated with broadcasting by and for the community. They also cover aspects such as community access and participation in the operation of this station. Copies of the code are available from the 3CR website. Go to 3cr.org.au/who we are.
And you're back with the Doin Time show. And we just heard from Uncle Jack Charles, who was talking a lot about stolen generation and treaty and the lived experience of prison. It's approximately 4:41. Sorry, Vickie. We're going to welcome Vickie to the program now. Vickie Roach. We're a bit late. Sorry about that.
Hi, Marissa. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Vickie, thank you so much for being patient with us. But look, you've been on our show quite a few times, and we've invited you back really because of Saturday, the 26th of May, and I know that Sorry Day was on that day, wasn't it? And we just wanted to just ask you how you, what happened that day, whether you just stayed home or whether you went anywhere, and what it means to you.
I rarely do anything for Sorry Day.
That's all right.
I may go on a march. I didn't this year. I actually sprained my back, so I was feeling particularly sorry for myself as well.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Sorry Day is, well, for me anyway, it's a time for reflection.
Absolutely, it is a time for reflection. And in fact, what are your views for example, on prison abolition?
Prison abolition. I believe very strongly that prisons need to must be abolished for society to proceed as a humane, civilised society.
Very, very much so. Very much. But you sound a bit clogged up there, Vickie. You've been a bit unwell.
Yeah, I kind of get like this every time I go on a plane. And I was actually in Melbourne. I came back on Friday.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, it leaves me a bit like this for a couple of days.
Were you visiting, or were you speaking on a panel? What was happening?
Actually, I went to a steering committee meeting for Women Transforming Justice, which is something very important to me. Of course, always women in the criminal justice system, or criminal injustice system, as I like to call it.
And what happened there?
It was our first meeting, so it's all we're all just getting to know about things, about each other, and what's going to happen with this program.
Okay. And what was your what are your reasons for participating in that type of program?
It's very important to me. Decarceration and prison abolition is, like I said, it's something that must be done. We're still being medieval savages by locking people away in prison. Other countries have already showed us the way. We can adopt these principles tomorrow and have people out of prison. It needs to be expedited as quickly as it can, and anything I can do to make that happen, I'll do.
Absolutely, no, it's pretty important, isn't it, Vickie?
Even if I do get a cold on the plane.
Well, that's right. And in fact, Vickie, we were talking to Uncle Jack just before you about how babies and Aboriginal babies, of course, had the circumstances of stolen generation. That he was actually told that he'd committed a crime at, I think, as a baby. Didn't that happen to you too? And can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, it happened to me too. When I was 2.5, it was a device that the child welfare system used at the time because of the children's court being with normal courts, I imagine. Something that we're looking at doing again right now, if I understand correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, and so it was they charged me with being neglected and exposed to moral danger. Well, neglected by way of being destitute. I was 2.5 years old, so they used to make kids work early back then.
Wow. And does that go on your criminal record, Vickie?
Well, it actually does, because it's on a police charge sheet. So it goes into the criminal system and it becomes the founding document of your criminal record.
That's has it been wiped for you?
It never gets wiped.
Oh. Never?
It never gets wiped. That's what they're hoping to do in Victoria, and I hope they are successful in Victoria with that. But it doesn't help in the long run to a degree, because all your other records, all the other crimes that you get charged with, ultimately resulting from that initial charge, are not wiped.
So you were taken away from your mother as a child, and nothing was ever right again after that, and no wonder you went to prison.
Well, yeah, there was basically only one way for me to go.
Yeah. Look, it's pretty crazy, Vickie, and you know, I really love talking to you actually, because each time I speak to you, I get to know you better, and I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you sharing, you know, yourself on air, because it's so important.
Look, it's a pleasure too, Marissa. These are things that are important to me, because we can't keep damaging and breaking people to this point. The way things are, half the country is going to have been in prison, and the trauma that prison creates, not just for the prisoner themselves or the person who's incarcerated, but their entire family, is immeasurable. No wonder we're such traumatised society. Absolutely.
Vickie, I just wanted to ask you something in regards to, I know you didn't attend Sorry Day, but I just wanted to ask you about the symbolic purple flower and how they put it in the sculpted Coolamon. What does that mean?
I'm sure I don't know.
Yeah, because there's
that was Victoria.
In Victoria, they laid a purple flower in the sculpted Coolamon, and I think the Coolamon, I should have asked Uncle Jack about this actually. I think a Coolamon is a beautiful. It's like a plate or something, or a pot that women used to use, but before it was colonised.
You do carry a baby in it.
Oh, a baby. That's right. So it's a Coolamon, and I'm sure I've seen one of those. It's actually beautiful, isn't it? So they carried a baby in that.
It's used for many things, but you didn't carry a baby in it.
Oh, wow. That's pretty amazing. It's approximately... What's that?
Oh, I'd be interested to know what the purple flower is.
Yeah, the flowers, yeah.
Yeah, because
and Uncle Jack would have known too.
I forgot to ask him, but I thought, you know what, I was going to continue it with you. But I think it's actually symbolic of Sorry Day in Victoria, and there are so many different tribes, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, the flower.
So,
and there might be a flower for each tribe.
Each tribe. It's approximately 4:50, and you're listening to an interview with Vickie Roach, and thanks so much for coming onto the program despite your cold. Vickie, are there any final comments you wanted to make?
Well, Reconciliation Week.
Tell us about that.
Well, first of all, you have to have something to reconcile, and we've never ceded sovereignty.
Yep.
Until sovereignty is ceded, and it never will be, there'll be many more sorry days.
Tell us about sovereignty being ceded. What does that mean to you?
Sovereignty has never been ceded to this land. We have never said, here you go, you can have it.
Yeah.
We've never been treated with. We've never even been treated with respect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was watching this show called After Marbo last night. And and they had like they were talking about how the farmers had this full on propaganda about they're going to steal your land and blah 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 blah. It was like an advert on mainstream TV, and people.
That's how it was.
Yeah, people were saying that it was a national party or something who supported it as well, and people were saying that it wasn't even farmers' land. Yeah, it was like it was
look who's doing it now.
Crown land that they were talking about.
Yeah, what was that, Vickie?
Sorry.
Look who's doing it now in farmers' own backyards. The gas company.
Yeah, that's it. The same thing.
The gas company?
Yeah, the gas companies are doing it, not us.
Yeah, don't they want to? They want to do gas exploration in the Northern Territory there.
We can't stop them. we can't say no. All we have is the right to negotiate.
Oh, I reckon we can stop them. I reckon we can. I might bring in some music.
I've been not.
Yeah.
Every time I've been not with negotiations.
Yeah.
But it seems to me, from what I can understand of the whole act, is that although we can negotiate till the cows come home, we can't outright say no.
Wow.
Oh, is that with the land rights?
And no farmer can either.
What's that?
No ordinary farmer can either.
Yeah. Well, there needs to be, I think, lawyers, and, you know, we need to actually have lawyers research these things, don't we, and work out what can be done. In some ways, native title is a bit of a farce.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Of course it is.
But,
Of course it is.
Don't you think? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's got to be said, doesn't it? Go on.
Yeah. Yeah, and all this recognition and none of that's all a big furphy. It's all been funded by the Liberal Party. It's got nothing to do with us, and we don't want that. I don't want to be recognised in their constitution.
Yeah.
We are our own sovereign nations. We're not part of their constitution. And I don't want to be.
Yeah, exactly. But as long as it's not as actually, you know, the thing that gets to me is, though, that it shouldn't be about terra nullius either.
I'm sorry?
You know, the terra nullius, how, you know, it was looked at that Aboriginal people, that there was no one living here when the settlers came, when colonisation happened. They acted like no one was living there. It was just flora and fauna.
Well, you know, Mabo native title was supposed to put paid to that, to that myth, but it has been watered down so much, first of all by Howard, and then just continually thereafter, until we have these just totally demolished faux rights, FAUX. They're not real.
Absolutely. It's approximately 4:55 and we've got about 3 minutes. Vickie, thank you so much for coming. And I'm sure we'll be having you back on soon.
A pleasure always.
Thanks, Vickie.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Vickie Roach, who is a wonderful Indigenous woman, and she's a writer, and she's done some amazing stuff. But yeah, so we've got a couple of minutes left, but before we say goodbye, just wanted to remind listeners that Radiothon started today. So the Radiothon is from the 4th to the 17th of June, and we'll be having our Radiothon show next Monday, the 11th of June, and our target is $850. So keep those donations coming if you can, for Doin Time and all shows at 3CR. And from $2 upwards, it's tax deductible, as long as you're able to do that by the 30th of June. So stay tuned for next Monday. We're going to be looking at a lot of interviews. And in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be interviewing Brett Collins from Justice Action about some prisoners who were not allowed to go into a health conference because they would have had to have paid $2,500 to attend a conference. Isn't that absolutely appalling? So we're going to look at that and, look at many other issues. So Beyond Zero is up next, and they're coming up soon. We're going to be going out with our theme song now, Black Fella, White Fella. Thank you so much for Uncle Jack coming in, and thank you to Vickie for coming onto the show. And so it's goodbye from Marissa.
See you, everyone.
And stay safe, and please everybody look after each other. See you next week.
See ya.